Hello, I am Dani Hutto from IT branch and this is the summary for week 2 basic entrepreneurship class. In this class, we mostly revolved around design thinking and so does my summary. So without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, we learned about the philosophy of design thinking. Here we learned about certain philosophies, like something that challenge the accepted wisdom, inclusion, inclusive design, inclusive practice, human-centric approach, life-centric approach. Nowadays, we mostly follow life-centric approach. Next, building max value for users, designing participative experiences for consumers that are meaningful, productive, and profitable. These are some of them. After that, we learned about the two mindsets, problem mindset and solution mindset. And we learned that problem mindset should be eliminated and we should work towards the solution mindset. We should adopt solution mindset more than the problem mindset. Next, we learned about the history of design thinking, which included certain important dates like in 1970s, design and planning problems were termed as wicked problems. In 1980s, we saw the rise of human-centered design. In 1990s, design thinking was adopted for business purposes. In 2005, Stanford University's D School began teaching design thinking. In 2020, life-centered design was adopted. After that, we learned about the preliminary tools for design thinking, which were growth mindset, convergent and divergent thinking, wicked problems, and abductive reasoning. We also learned about the difference between growth and fixed mindset. The people with growth mindset tend to see failure as an opportunity to grow, while the people with fixed mindset saw these failures as their limit and they stop their own growth in the process. We also saw the models of thinking, which included divergent thinking, convergent thinking, and lateral thinking. In divergent thinking, we used imagination, and in convergent thinking, we used logic. In lateral thinking, we think outside of the box. As we can see in the diagram, divergent thinking is used to generate ideas through brainstorming, and in convergent thinking, we evaluate and analyze these ideas to filter them out. Next, we learned that through entrepreneurship mindset, we can build a trust-based society. So we need to inspire others to have that entrepreneurship mindset. This trust-based society has many benefits, some of which are openness and transparency, empathy and relationships, resilience and integrity, innovation and empowerment, and lastly but not least, ethical design making. It also has uh, many more benefits, but these are some of them. Next, we learned about wicked problems. These are problems which are initially completely difficult and almost impossible to solve. We don't have any data about these problems, and these problems are ill-defined. We also learned that design thinking is the combination of creativity and abductive reasoning. Now, what is abductive reasoning, you may ask? Well, it is a type of reasoning in which we obtain most likely solutions based on an incomplete set of information. Here we also learned about design thinking, and we got a definition from the executive chair of IDEO, Tim Brown. He said that design thinking is a life-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibility of technology, and the requirements for business success. We also saw that the life-centered design mostly revolved around viability, desirability, and feasibility. This design thinking is a non-linear approach as we can jump back to our previous stages and continue the process, but the reverse is not, but the converse is not true. Next, we also learned about empathy inside these different stages of design thinking. This one is the first one. In empathy, we observe, engage, and immerse into the problems of the people. The problems we identify through research, interviews, surveys, etc. Why empathy, you may ask? Because it allows high-impact solutions to bubble up from below rather than being imposed from the top. This means we understand our problem in a depth manner. We also learned about the two types of needs. These are explicit and implicit needs. In explicit need, people express their needs directly, while in implicit, they do not directly state it. In order to understand them, we need to research and take interviews. Next, we have define. Defines uses several techniques like insight, unpack, synthesize, and needs. In define, we basically observe the obtained data, analyze it, and come up with the most or the actual problem that that the people face. We do this through observation, analysis, answering five whys, etc. Why define, you may ask? Because define helps us to better understand the problem with thorough understanding of the user's context and to go into the direction problem worth solving. Well, this marks the end of the summary. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.